Okay, so today we have a new volleyball recruit, Olivia. She's a hitter. She's told me that she has some anterior instability of her shoulder and would like some support while she plays. So we're going to try the shoulder Spica today, see how she likes that, and possibly the Rigney if she finds that's too bulky for her. But so we know you're volleyball and hitter. Have you been taped before?
Yes.
So you're not allergic to any tape sprays or adherents?
No.
Are you allergic to latex at all?
No.
Okay, good. So first thing we're going to do, observe. We're going to look at her shoulders. This is the injury side, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to look for any deformities, contusions, abrasions, burns, penetrations, lacerations, swelling. I'm not seeing anything. Do I have permission to help you today?
Yes.
Okay, so with our hands, we're going to check for any heat between the shoulders, any differences. They're the same. Altered function. She can still play. She just wants that extra support. Redness, I'm not seeing any, and pain kind of when she gets into that late cocking phase. So everything looks good to tape. First thing we're going to do, we're going to spray the area with a bit of tape adherent. And so getting around that scalp area behind that posterior arm and that anterior GH joint. Okay, so now we have that. We can start with our Spica. Okay, so one, put your hand on your hip. Yep, that's good too. So getting that internal rotation to keep that GH in the internal rotation. And we're going to start kind of in that bicep area. And I want you to flex that bicep while we do this. Okay, coming up. As we get to that posterior shoulder, we're going to come in front of the anterior GH and around. Give Liv a nice little hug. Back around that posterior joint. Wrapping around our bicep again, flexing again. And we're going to continue this until we run out of tensor. And this is going to support that joint on the anterior aspect and keeping it in that internal rotation, helping to prevent that kind of translation outwards. And we want to make sure that we are avoiding the axilla folds. We don't want to get irritation up in there. Okay. Now we could use a shorter tensor. We just don't have that in our kits today, but a shorter tensor could work with Liv, maybe even a smaller one, a 4-inch instead of a 6-inch. But this is what we have available, so this is what we are using. Okay. And just coming back around. That posterior joint helping that there as well. And we can take some Hypafix. Alright, thank you. Here, you got it? Okay, thank you. Flexing that bicep again, good. Okay, and now for our Hypafix, we're also going to follow the support as well. Okay, coming around, up around the back. And sealing that off. Okay, so that's essentially the tape job. How's that feel, Liv?
Good.
Feels good? Okay, so if you want to hop up, I'm just going to recheck our PMS. Okay, cap refill is the same between them, so that's one way to check as well. Wiggle the fingers, good. Feel that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a return to play, see how this feels for Liv. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to do single plane motion. So at your shoulders, I just want you to do some flexion extension. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's like limited.
It's a little limited, okay. Multi-plane, so if you want, we can kind of mimic that rotation you get with your spikes.
Okay.
Yeah, both arms, go ahead. So nice and slow, and speed it up. How's that feel so far?
Good.
Okay, now I want you to try to like go in that spiking position, see how that is. Now is that too much for you, too little?
Yeah, like, not gonna lie, it's like really bulky.
It's really bulky and restricted?
Because I only wear like a t-shirt, so it's gonna like, I feel like there's gonna be a lot going on.
Okay, so you feel like you can't play in this, right?
Yeah, like I don't really like
Okay, that's fine. So if you hop up, we can actually try the Rigney. So with Liv, she is feeling a bit too restricted, too bulky, so we can actually try substitute something with less, which is the Rigney support. So we'll go ahead and do that now. We'll remove this, and then I can just touch it. Yeah. Okay, I'll speed it up.
Quick.
Speed it up in the post. Okay. Okay, so we're going to try the Rigney support instead. It's a little less bulky, but hopefully it still provides that support that she wants. So we already cleared her for all her allergies, already did our observations and all that, so we're good to go. So we're going to spray the area again, just in case something came off. So spraying on that posterior scapula, around that bicep, tricep area, and around that pec region. We're going to cut a piece of hypofix that extends from just below the spine of the scap to that mid-pectoral region. And we're going to apply that. Yep. So depending on your athlete's comfort, they could do this. So finding that spine, just behind it, or below it, coming over, and then I'm going to have Liv press that down. Okay, so now we have that. We're going to get some hypofix actually, and I'm going to get you again, get in that position, hand on the hip. And we're going to go into that bicep region, and we're going to put an anchor here. And remember, flexing while she does this. She is flexing, so we're good. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take our non-tear tape. I'm going to measure a few strips first, then cut them. But what we're essentially going to do, she's going to be hand on the hip. We're going to be coming from that posterior tricep area, across the front of the bicep, across that anterior GH joint, like that, to kind of mimic what that Spica was doing with a lot less bulk.
Can I go out like this? Like, how do you want me?
Yeah, we can go under the sports bra, so we'll figure that out when it comes by. So I would say that's a good length, so I'll cut a few of those. Liv, if you want to help, hold that. Thank you. And we're going to cut about 3 or 4 of these. Okay, so we'll start with 3. You can always adjust it. So like I said, hand on the hip, bicep is contracted, starting on that posterior tricep area. We're going to pull forward, across that anterior GH, pinning it down, and Liv can push that part down. Okay. We're going to do our next one. Same thing, pretty much right over it. From that tricep out in front.
You can push it down.
Yeah, pushing down anterior to that GH. We can trim that one, no problem. It's a little long. Excuse my hands. Okay. And our last one, again, starting that posterior tricep. Over on front.
You can lay it down if you want. I don't mind.
There you go. And we can lay that down. Again, we could trim that if Liv finds that uncomfortable. Right now she's okay. So Liv, how does that feel so far right now? Do you think you want a little more support?
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah?
Maybe a little.
A little bit? Okay, so we can add more support with gluco or zinc as well. So we'll use a zinc. And we're just going to do that same thing. We're going to follow it over. Anterior GH joint. Laying it right over. And now we can adjust to however many strips we want of non-tear as well as zinc oxide to find what support she wants. But of course we do want to make sure that we anchor these back down on the bicep. Yep, so bicep is contracted. Just make sure they don't come off. Okay, so that's essentially the Rigney. So we're going to take her again through the return to play, recheck our PMS. Okay, pulse is equal. She can move them both. You can feel that? Yep. Good. All right. So return to play, we're going to start again. So we're going to start with our flexion and extension. How's that feel?
Good.
Okay, we're going to get that circumduction, kind of getting into that hitting position. How's that feel? Good. A little bit faster now.
Same thing?
Yep. Okay, now I want you to kind of mimic that position when you spike, when you get into that cocking phase. How does that feel? You feel supported on the front?
Yeah, a lot better.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, next one. We're going to get to do like a bit of perturbation. So I want you actually in that position where you kind of tend to pop out. And I'm going to perturbate and you just want to hold it there, okay?
Yep.
So make sure that you feel stable in this position where you tend to be unstable.
Yeah, it's good.
Good? All right. So she doesn't really wear much equipment. She just kind of wears her jersey. So we can throw the jersey on and then we can bring her out to the court. And we're going to introduce like a ball. So if she wants, she can just kind of lightly tap the ball, catching it with the one arm. Yep, making sure it's okay. Okay, she's catching it. All right, next thing that we can do some sport-specific stuff with a teammate. So we'll grab her teammate, and her teammate is going to pass her the ball, and she's going to just do some light catches, volleys back, maybe even a couple spikes. So go ahead, there's the ball. All right, so now do some light spikes back. Yep, how's that feel?
Good.
Good. Okay, and the last thing, reproducing the MOI. So the MOI is more so just that anterior instability. So when she gets into this phase of her swing, so we're going to get her to actually do some real hits. So here we go. How's that feel? Good?
Good.
Okay, good. All right, so Liv, is that better for you, not too
Yeah,
bulky now?
I like this a lot better, to be honest.
Okay, so there we go. So we found that the Spica was too much, but the Rigney is good. So I think Liv's good to go now. There we go.